I'm Sean Kantayashi with Saucon Valley Cute and Cuddly Toy Schnauzers.
A visit to my house usually starts with a cup of tea. Arlene picked the cherry blossom, and I usually start my day with a really good Earl Grey, but I also love my cream. Now the day can begin. But let's take just a little moment here and smell the flowers. A little later in this video, I will be bringing you along with me on an adventure. I hope you'll join me. Look at this beautiful girl. This is our Ginger tea time, and her guardian mom and I, Arlene here, we're having a cup of tea together. So, Ginger tea time. Yes. So here she is before. We're going to do a really nice bath this morning, and then we're going to use what Amy Leigh, the Go Groomer, taught us about doing teddy bear trims. So, what do you think, Ginger? Ginger is a red party color. So I know some of you are going to immediately go, what is that? Wait a minute. Yes, this is a Schnauzer. Ginger has a brown nose and beautiful green eyes. So first step in any good grooming is a very thorough brush and comb to make sure that there are no little knots. And I feel quite certain that Arlene keeps on top of brushing and combing. So I know we're not going to find any little knots, but I'm still just going to go ahead and run the brush through her whole body first thing. So as was expected, there was not a knot anywhere. Ginger's coat is in great shape. So now we head to the bath. So this is Arlene, and Arlene is Ginger Tea Time's guardian mom. How do you like that cherry blossom tea, Arlene?
I love it. I love it. It's so refreshing and mellow.
It has some really subtle cherry flavors that are so yummy. And you know, Arlene, sometimes they say that people and their dogs look alike. Well, I gotta tell you, we matched the two of you up perfectly.
You certainly did.
Look at this little girl, so cute. Today, Arlene wanted to learn how to do the teddy bear cut, and so she brought Ginger over so that we could do this together.
They're so wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
I'm so enjoying them. So is she. I mean, we'll be in the middle of playing, and I'll put it on the TV, and she stops. And then she looks, and then she plays, and she wags her tails. And I says, you know what? Are you missing your friends?
Aw, she did love living here, but I know she also is very, very happy to have you. So
I said, do you need a playmate?
That works out very well. Well, the first thing that we do when doing a bath, after we've done the brush out, is make sure that the water is hot. So I had the water running, so it's nice and warm, and we're ready to lather. So Arlene was just asking me about which shampoos I'm using. I love the Chris Christensen white on white shampoos for white dogs, and the detangling ice on ice. They're great. But I also love this squalene line from iGroom. Really good. So I have both the shampoo and the conditioner. And we'll also be using some ear cleaner today with her. I've pre-mixed my shampoo and my conditioner, and you might wonder, why is the shampoo the color that it is? Let me explain. You can see here I have a gallon of chlorhexidine solution, and I will pour some of this chlorhexidine into the shampoo once it's all mixed up. Chlorhexidine is great at making sure that the skin is rid of yeasty issues. So if you have a dog, for example, that goes out every morning and gets its paws into the dewy grass, you're going to want to start using some chlorhexidine solution. I have it in these little bags, and if dogs have wet paws for a long period of time, I want the dog's paws to soak in this. Again, it just helps to cut down yeasty, the kinds of issues that cause dogs to get itchy. If, like Arlene, you only have one dog, you do not need to buy that full gallon size. You could buy the smaller, this size. This is the one that I advised Arlene to buy when she got Ginger tea time, just because if Ginger was going outside or any little hot spots that crop up, this is a great way to treat that very quickly. So Ginger is all wet now, and I'm going to lather up her face first with Spa. You can see here, it's great for faces. Arlene was just asking me why I'm using this particular product on her face, and it's just, I'm in the habit of using it. But notice Ginger, a very light colored dog, does not have any tear staining at all. I attribute that to Arlene is feeding Ginger human grade food, really good food. And as a result, Ginger's body is not producing the red tear staining issue. Next, after I do the face, I lather up the ears really well, and I get the shampoo woven through the ears and under the chin. And then I put ear cleaner in the ears. She is all lathered up. So she's got soap on her, and we let the soap soak in. Now, I will tell you that Ginger Tea Time is a inside dog. She is not an outside dog, so she's not dirty at all. So she doesn't need this soaking in for long periods of time to get rid of debris in her coat. You can tell by looking at her. She's just very, very well kept. So we will rinse this very well now. And then conditioner. So now we're putting the conditioner in her, and I start the same way. I start at the head, get the ears all conditioned very well, and I am very liberal with my conditioner. I say to myself, hey, this is an abundant universe. We have a lot of conditioner available. Let's use it now. So while we were letting the conditioner sink in for about 5 minutes, we did a couple of things. We gave Miss Ginger Tea Time some probiotic, and then we also gave her some tripe, beef tripe, and she liked it. The reason I'm doing this is I would like to get a little bit more weight on Ginger. And so things like with her beef mixture, scrambled egg, buffalo, lamb, any of the human grade proteins that you would normally eat yourself, she can also have, along with sweet potato, carrot. Yes, and I think she'll like that. Now I'm rinsing the conditioner off of Ginger. So Ginger has now been rinsed, and Arlene just asked me a question about Ginger's red color. This is such a fabulous example. When Ginger was born, she was white, and this was creamy colored, and it got darker red over time. So this is, you hear me say regularly in my videos, it's very hard for me to predict sometimes when a dog has cream or creamy gold patches. Those can evolve to be darker. Arlene was just mentioning that she has noticed that Ginger has even darkened up since she had her. And yes, that does happen. So Ginger is out of the bathtub, and she's very happy to be here in this grooming room. And I was chuckling to myself because, yes, she's a redhead, just like me and just like Arlene. So sometimes I just let my dog towel themselves off. But when I towel, I'm running my hand in the direction that the coat grows. In other words, like this. You do not want to take your towel and rub it back and forth vigorously. Why? Because that can create little knots. You don't want that. So I'm going to towel her off and then just brush or comb her out a little bit before we start the blow dryer. Ginger has been on this grooming table many, many times. When she lived here, she was literally on this grooming table every day. And when I start using the high velocity dryer, which she has had used on her many times, I pick up the hose here, the end, I turn it on to low, and then I start in the back. So Arlene, if you just hold her for a moment, I'm going to show what that looks like. So I'm picking up the hose, and when I turn it on, I'm going to start in the back by her legs. She's very interested in this. So I blow dry the back half of the dog first, including back, bum, all of that underneath. And then I pull the dryer slowly forward while it's going. So even when dogs have been very conditioned to have a dryer on them, I still start with the back. I think it's just better all around for the dog and for me too. So I'm going to spare you the sounds of the dryer. See 6 minutes later, here's what Ginger looks like. So she is pretty much dried. She didn't have so much of a problem with having the back end of her dried at all. When we get to the head, when we get to the ears initially, they can be a little resistant to that. And so it took a few minutes, but she did get to the point where she was fine with me blow drying her head. And so now what I'm going to do is just real quickly run the brush through her. Again, what do you notice now that she's been bathed and dried?
She's so soft. So soft.
Yes.
And fluffy.
That's right. And this is where the daily routine of brushing and just getting any little snarls out. So again, we just do that. I don't think that there are any snarls there, but we want to make sure before we start using our clippers. And you can see Ginger is quite fine with her mommy brushing her.
What a good sit.
She's a good girl. So this is my Kinchi Flash 5, and I'm going to start off, it's on a 10 blade. I'm going to do a sanitary trim. This is what it looks like before. And so notice how I am holding her up like this. So I've got her front two paws up while I'm doing this. So I'm just lightly grazing. So notice what a difference that makes. We can now see very clearly, we've cleaned out her belly and we've cleaned out her bum area here. So there is less likely to have any, again, there's a reason why we call it a sanitary trim. So again, I went pretty close in here with a 10 blade, but I just let it skim up under the tail. There's an example of a paw pad that's well cleaned out with the clippers. And fortunately for me, Anne, who's here every week, cleans out the paw pads of all my dogs here weekly, which really helps. So if you have a clipper like this and you're doing this kind of work at home, hey, just pop your dog up on the grooming table. It takes less than a few seconds. Okay. So if somebody's not here to help me with cleaning out paw pads, notice what I do with the dog. The dog is under my arm. I'm holding the dog firmly but not too tight, and I'm able to get right into those paw pads with my clippers. So Arlene was just saying to me, in essence, you know, how can I do this on my own when it's just me at home? Well, here's how you do the back end, and then you can turn the end like this. If Arlene was sitting on her sofa or in her bathroom, she could pick Ginger up. But if she starts doing this every week, regularly, Ginger will get used to it and she won't fight it. In fact, she'll start to see that it can be a really nice time with mom where she's getting some nice cuddles along the way. But only cuddle. Right now, Ginger's very calm and relaxed. So you only cuddle and you only say, yes, good girl. Yes, good girl. When the dog is actually being good. If the dog is being squirmy, please don't say good girl, because she's not being a good girl. Wait until the dog is being a good girl and then affirm her and reward her at that time. So next up, we're going to talk about the guard combs here with Arlene. And this particular guard comb is going to leave the hair about that long. You can see where that would be clipping. So the question is, do we want her that long or do we want her shorter? What I'm going to do is pop this guard comb on my clipper, and we're going to run this over Ginger's body and see if Arlene likes that. I'm not a particularly handy person. Those of you who've watched for a while know that. So I was just putting this guard comb on and lamenting to Arlene that it does take me some real handy work with these hands in order to get those guard combs to snap on properly, which is why I typically just leave my guard combs that I use on my clippers. So I have multiple sets of clippers which enable me to use the common guard combs. Just pick up the clipper and go with it. So that's what I'm doing. All right. Here we go. So here's what it looks like with this clipper and guard comb. I do have the wide blade clipper.
So you can see how much this is taking off. And I'm taking multiple passes. Amy Leigh, the Go Groomer, taught me to take multiple passes over the same area. So I am doing that. And then we're going to come down here and we're going to get her body nicely rounded out. So I'm using the same length guard comb on her whole body. This is not Ginger's first time being groomed, so she is used to the clippers, the clipper blade running over her body. If you are just learning how to do this yourself, you may want to use your clippers on your dog like this initially, just to get your dog used to the sound and the feel of clippers running across their body before you start doing it. If you have a little puppy, highly recommend that you have that little puppy get exposure to clippers and sounds like this at a young age. So I'm literally just running this over her entire body. I can also come back up like this along the chest. She's wanting to lay down. She's so relaxed right now and just calm. I think the sound and the feeling feels like a little massage on her body. She's just jelly right now in my hands. And I can look at her coat. I can just look at it and tell it's going to feel so soft and so smooth. Arlene, I can't wait for you to get your hands on her and feel what this is like. It's so nice. And as this grows out, she will get bigger, fluffier. Now that she's in, we've been transitioning her in essence from the traditional Schnauzer cut to this teddy bear. And there is a bit of a transition going on for her from one to the other. But she's going to be so beautifully fluffy in this teddy bear cut.
Sean, how often do you groom your dogs in the teddy bear cut?
So I would say look at them, and if you say to yourself, this dog looks like it's a little scruffy, it's time for a groom. If the dog still looks great to you, then you're fine. That said, I would suggest that you bathe her every 3 weeks and aim to groom her every 5 to 6 weeks or so. If you wanted to get it on your calendar, say every 3 weeks I'm going to give her a bath. And in essence, every other time that you're bathing her, then you would be grooming her. But I notice sometimes people want a recipe for things. And I think in some ways it's better to say, if you look at her and you say, wow, she needs to be groomed, and it's not yet the time to be grooming her, well, feel free to go ahead and groom her. You know, it's like I say a dog needs a bath every 3 weeks. Well, if your dog gets dirty at the 2-week mark, please feel free to go ahead and bathe your dog. Yeah. Let me get some of this hair cleaned up. But you can see she's quite fine. She's very relaxed at the moment on the grooming table.
Arlene was just commenting on how relaxed Ginger is at the moment, and she is. She's quite happy. She understands what's happening. So we have finished much of this type of work, and so Arlene was asking me what the size of this is, and we can see that this is the Joyzy 1/2 inch. It's the #1, and I go by the color because I've noticed that the color tends to be the same on the different styles. And then also it's really important to get the extra. Oh, are you going to come help me, Ginger? Ginger's going to help me get the extra. Yeah. Hi, pretty girl.
So this is the Wall KM cordless clipper. I have an extra wide blade, and this is a 30 wide blade. So this is the clip-on comb that I just used, and to clip it on, you go like that. I just made it look so much easier than it normally is, but oh, you know what? I didn't get it on right. That's why it just looked so much easier than it normally is. So here we go. These two go underneath the blade, like so, and then you push forward so that it clips over the top of the blade, and then you bring it back down. And now I did get it right.
So we've gotten the clipper to work done now, and what's up next is the hand scissoring. And I will tell you that for many years, I did not have the right equipment, and as a result, I wasn't getting the results I wanted. So once I met Amy Leigh and I got the right equipment, it has changed everything about our grooming experience. And Arlene was just saying, oh, this just feels, I wish you all could reach your hand in right now and just feel how soft and luxurious her coat feels. But what I'm going to be doing is hand scissoring. And you know we love to learn around here. So Arlene is going to learn to hold the camera for me, and I'm going to be doing the scissoring work. And what Arlene has to learn to do is look here in the camera, not at Ginger, in order to get this right. So we're going to use a comb, and we are just combing in place. And I am not a perfectionist on this. There are things in life that I'm probably somewhat of a perfectionist about, but this isn't one of them. So I'm going for really good. I'm going for, let's make sure that when we look at this dog, we say, wow, we just love how she looks. But let's not get so hung up about if every little hair is perfect. And so I'm going to do my best. This is all about just practicing. So I'm practicing out creating a dome over the head. I like a little rounded muzzle here on my teddy bear look. So I'm wanting everything to feel round. Have to change the position of my scissors sometimes. From the angle that I'm looking at, and I'm using the rounded shears, it really helps. Again, for the longest time, I used to buy inexpensive scissors and then get very frustrated because what I was doing wasn't working. Notice, this is me, Sean, not a professional groomer doing this. This is how I do the eyes. I take a very long and I go in like that so that the tips of the scissors are never near the eyes. Professionals do not do it this way. And frankly, with Ginger, I could probably get away with doing it more like the professionals do. But we're just cleaning out her eyes here, getting right in there. And then I have Amy Leigh's sapphire shears, and I have these Kinshi chunkers. And so these chunkers, I can just come right in and blend. So again, it's creating more of that
rounding effect. Ultimately, it's going to be up to Arlene what Arlene likes. So if Arlene likes what we've done, great. If Arlene doesn't like what we've done, she could perhaps borrow some of my tools here and do some of it herself and practice with it to get it where she likes it. But here's what little Miss Ginger is looking like at the moment. Oh my goodness, you are so beautiful, girl. Those beautiful green eyes and that beautiful brown nose. Oh, we just love you so much. Yes. So now let me look at her body and see if there's some places where I think I need to use the shears. So I'm going to come along here. You want to get in there with me. Just to clean up these lines. So holding this out and cleaning this up. And then I can see some places around here where I feel like I need to get that cleaned up. So here's a spot right in here where I will take this and just clean it. So Arlene might want to buy herself a pair of really good chunkers like this, because this chunker, these are a real key to blending out the lines. So if there are hard lines, you can just come along with these, blend them out, and get that nice looking teddy bear style. Ginger's ears are very nicely clean, and of course we cleaned them while she was in the bath, but just getting any excess out in front of her ear can help. So I'll take the camera now and have Arlene run her hands all over Ginger to see if there are any spots that Arlene wants to tie together or play with the shears on. If you see anything little sticking out somewhere that you say, let's get this blended in better, like I'm seeing right in here, I could probably do a better job of blending. Next up, I'm gonna clip around her feet. So we'll have her standing up like this, and I'll hold on to one foot. So if I pull this leg up, then I can get at that leg really well. So I'm just coming in and using my rounded shears rounding out the shape of the foot. And I can see some little spots like right there. Okay. Look at you, pretty girl. Oh yeah, you're so. And because Ginger is a wee bit underweight, I have suggested to Arlene that she feed her things like this tripet, which is a beef stomach. And it smells great, and Ginger liked it today. We're also going to weigh Ginger. Let's find out, how much does Ginger weigh? So today, Miss Ginger weighs 8 pounds, and it looks like 8 ounces. So I'd really like her to get up to be about 9 or 10 pounds, given her height. So one of the questions that Arlene asked me and that we've been talking about today is, since we've shifted Ginger over from dry kibble to human grade food, one of the things about feeding human grade food, sometimes people get concerned that leaving the food out for a little while. Ginger is a grazer. And what that means is she'll take a few bites, she'll eat it, and then she goes to do something else. And then she comes back in a little while. So if Arlene is feeding her human grade, you know, the stew that we make here, and then immediately picking it up within 10, 15 minutes of when Ginger eats it, Ginger's not getting enough opportunity to eat. And so I'm suggesting that you leave her food out for an hour or two, and then you could pick it up, put it in the refrigerator for an hour or two, and then pull it out again. Since she's a grazer, her eating style, and frankly, she's a social eater. So when she was here, she ate out of a common food bowl with my dogs. And the common food bowl was left out for hours at a time and then picked back up and put in the refrigerator for an hour or two and then put out again, so that there's always plenty in the food bowl. And that's a little different from what Arlene has been doing. So I'm so glad that Arlene asked the question and that we were able to tease that out about how to help Miss Ginger here gain a little bit more weight. We're gonna leave the food on the floor for an hour or two, let her graze, put it in the refrigerator, give her plenty so that there's more than she could eat in one sitting out and available to her, so she feels it's an abundant universe with her food, so we can get her to weigh just a little bit more. Good job, Arlene. This was so much fun today. I'm so glad that you brought Ginger to have a little grooming session. She did so great, and so did you, Arlene. Any questions or anything else you want to check in on while you're here?
I just want to say thank you so much. I just so appreciate you and what you're doing for Ginger.
Oh, I'm really happy to do it. We co-own Ginger. Ginger is in a guardian home, and so Arlene and I both have a shared love of this little girl, and we want to help her have a great life. And those of you who follow my channel regularly, you've watched this little girl since she was a very young puppy. She's over a year old now, and hopefully, fingers crossed, sometime soon, she will be coming in season. So Ginger is just super calm. She's just happy to be here. She's having a good time. She thinks of this as home. And she's one of those lucky dogs that has 2 homes. So when she comes here, she's quite happy. When she's at Arlene's house, she's very happy. And this is good. Yes. Ginger and Arlene are all ready to go. What a great visit we had. Thank you so much, Arlene, for bringing her. We had such a nice time. Beautiful girls. Bye-bye.
Thank you again.
We finished with Ginger, and I've taken care of all the puppies. I have a babysitter set up, and now I'm going out on an adventure. Come along with me, and let's celebrate some springtime together.
Spring is everywhere around us right now, and I am just loving all of these colors. Isn't this beautiful? If you want some spring garden inspiration, just check this out. So lovely. I'm at a flower arranging class. Look at how fun this is. So much fun to be able to do something like this. Oh my goodness, isn't this fun? This is what we're making today in our flower arranging class.
So I'm excited for him. And Washington, I love Washington. So he got a master's in international relations and diplomacy. So
balanced on all sides. If you decide that you're going to place it somewhere at home that you don't care what the backside looks like, then you can create it how you think it's all right. Everybody, we're going to be cutting it up into some pieces. Okay. You're going to take a loose all of your baker.
thank you.
Thank you.
Our members here too, and Jen, so they had a group that went, and then we had.
Would you break this up, or let's keep it?
Yeah, party. Oh, that's one.
Yeah. Thank you.
And what I love is that each one is a little different based on what was important to you as you were flower arranging. Isn't that fun?
With the feedback forms that I like.